Welcome to Sipping on Excellence. This is Coach KJ, and I'm here with my man, my dude, the Doc.
And this is where we will be discussing the exceptional that is absolutely attainable. My friends, here's to living that extraordinary life.
Cheers.
All right.
We are sipping. Sipping. Just a little step at a time. Oh, you
Gotta switch it up.
got some ear problems?
Man.
Your right ear is your left, and your left is your right. There's a reason why.
Man, oh
There
man.
is a reason why. What is going on?
Welcome, y'all. You got Dr. Lionel Hunt here, better known as Doc, and I'm always with my man,
Coach KJ.
life coach Kenneth Johnson.
Kenneth Johnson.
And welcome, y'all, to another episode of Sippin' on Excellence.
It is another episode, another great day.
Yeah. This is where we bring it to you raw, unedited. We do it.
Unedited, trying to figure out the edit.
We do it.
We are growing by leaps and bounds, even when we don't know we're growing.
But dude, that's what we do, man.
Yeah, I know the challenges of life that we have to meet in order for us to learn and grow from. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
Just one
man.
sip at a time.
Absolutely.
One sip at a time. How you feeling today?
Dude, I'm feeling pretty good today, man. I think we got a great topic we're going to dive into today because it seems to be on everybody's brain.
I know you hit me to this today. I was like, okay, all right. I'm trying to visualize it, and then next thing you know, it's like it just kind of aha.
Well, hopefully we're going to educate some people out there today. You know?
Yeah.
Not only ourselves, but all of you. Hopefully you'll get something out of this.
Because as this time goes, I'm still learning. 'Cause, but the moment that you stop learning, guess what? Probably 6 feet under.
Yeah, right?
Probably 6 feet under.
Or need to be.
Or in an urn.
Right.
One or the other.
So let's dive in, man. Let's talk about equality versus equity.
I want to be equal.
To what?
I don't know.
See, that's the biggest thing. Everybody's always shouting, I want equality. Did you ever really think about what being equal means? Let's keep it simple. Let's start with at work.
Okay.
Better yet, why don't we define equality
Take a step
versus
back.
equity?
So that way we can give examples, help people understand.
Exactly.
Some nutrients.
And for all of you out there who are always like, I don't know what shit means, that's why they got Google.
Mm-hmm.
Use it.
See, I was prepared today. Got my IDBC going on. I don't think you were ready for that. I don't think you were got my IDBC. I'm in control. Let's go.
Oh, shit.
I want my equity.
So when you Google it,
Okay.
there's a couple things that pop up, and I'm gonna go through it, and then that way we can have a foundation to build on. There's one definition that says equality means everyone is treated the same exact way, regardless of differences.
Mm-hmm.
Equity means everyone is provided with what they need to succeed. And then you take it down further. Another definition pops up is that equity is the quality of being fair and impartial, while equality is the state of being equal, especially in status, rights, and opportunities.
Okay.
And so I then started, we dug a little deeper and tried to see some examples of equality in the workplace. Because this is kind of dumbing it down to a simple level. And so equality is all employees have access to the same workspaces and resources. So, for example, everyone, regardless, is given the same desk and same chair.
Mm-hmm.
Equity means resources and spaces are adapted to meet the needs of all the employees.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll get into that, but I want you guys to start wrapping your head around sort of that conversation and those definitions as we get into different scenarios of where people are screaming they want to be equal
Yeah.
and what that means. And are they
Hopefully.
really meaning
Yeah.
equity?
And hopefully they can kind of readdress their thought patterns, their curiosity, their critical thinking to kind of find suit with what it is that they really want. Because the idea of this show is always to grow. And if you're not growing, you're not showing. So go ahead.
Yes. And so, like one example they gave here, sort of in the real estate game, like equity can be calculated by subtracting liabilities from assets. So
Okay.
if someone owns a house worth 400,000 and they only owe 300,000, then they have $100,000 in equity, which is
Okay.
kind of the worth of everything once you take out the liabilities.
Mhm.
Now, we're not going to go too deep into that because that'll start confusing fools when we just want to,
Yeah,
you know,
easy.
but because you hear that term equity in many different ways. And so, equity is what you're worth.
Yeah.
you know,
And there's power in what you're worth.
not what you think you're worth,
Right.
what you're actually worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that kicks off with look at the big debate about female athletes and sports.
Mhm.
People are always saying, especially female athletes, are like, soccer was the first big one. We should be paid equal based to the guys.
Right.
And the WNBA, they feel the same way. They should be paid equal to the NBA. At the end of the day, you want the same pay without bringing in the same revenue.
Right.
But if you wanted equality and you based it off of, okay, NBA players get, based on their salaries, X%, or say soccer players. So say for the World Cup, the World Cup soccer team, men's team, got X percentage of the revenue they brought in.
Mhm.
If they applied that same formula to the female soccer players would owe money
Mhm.
instead of getting money.
Mhm.
And so it's one of those things that you want to be treated fairly, yes, but don't think because you play the same sport, you deserve the same dollar value. You're not doing this, you're not doing the same work just because you're playing the same sport.
Mhm.
Your jersey isn't selling like LeBron's jersey if you're in the WNBA.
This is correct.
So you're not bringing in the same money. I mean, think about this. All the basketball players, forget WNBA versus NBA. Just look at all the NBA players. What if they came in saying we all wanted equal? No, they don't. So if
Yeah.
NBA players in general don't make the same amount of money, why should the WNBA be making the same amount of money as the NBA?
Right.
Now, if you want to talk about why one league brings in more money than the other, that's a whole different conversation. It's about fan base, etc.
But you have to factor all that in. Like, what is the fan base? Are the seats filled? Are the suites filled? What is the dollar value coming in from outside revenues, from sponsorships and everything else?
Exactly.
Who's kicking in? Because right now, using the WNBA as an example, the WNBA follows under suit of everything the NBA. So the NBA is doing kickback in order to increase the value of the WNBA.
Yes, but they're still not selling out arenas. They're still not,
No.
and it's just, sorry, but if you look at, say, what you call it, MMA fighting, what's the,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
trying to get them to understand
MMA.
but I'm thinking about the main organization with Dana White.
Oh, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on it. Good God.
Me too, right?
Yeah. Jesus. Oh, you know what? We know.
Are you kidding me? Just draw a blank. Anyway, Ronda Rousey made the perfect statement. She was like, I'm the UFC. I'm the highest paid UFC. There was a time she was the highest paid fighter in UFC. And it wasn't because there weren't men out there that She wasn't better than them. She wasn't even fighting them, but she brought more revenue to the
That's
sport
correct.
than any other UFC fighter at the time. So they paid her accordingly.
Yeah. Now Dana White is very good about that.
Yeah,
Equity.
right. That's equity. You know, let's break it down even smaller. We were talking about the workspace.
hmm
Say you have somebody who has a bad back, has special needs, is in a wheelchair. You can't give them the same desk and chair that you would give somebody who doesn't have those things. That's equity. That's not equality.
Right.
Equality means everybody gets the same shit regardless. And I think when people think about that, they don't realize that shit, maybe I don't want to have concessions made for me. you know? You know?
Right.
And this is where that debate amongst, the wage gap when you look at men and women in the workplace, right? When they looked at the wage gap, they didn't look at it per as individual professions. They just looked at all people working. And in general, if you take all people working, men make more than women.
Mhm.
But then if you break it down, it's men work harder jobs, longer hours. Say you have two people doing the exact same job.
hmm
They get hired at the same time. They have the same
Degrees. They have
degrees,
this,
everything.
Everything.
So they start with the same salary.
Live in the same neighborhood.
A year later,
hmm
the guy gets a raise. The woman gets a less of a raise. What studies have shown is that women generally spend less time at the office. Women generally take more time off. And so if the time put in and the work put in and the hours worked isn't the same, why should the pay be the same? Your hourly rate, if you're both making $20 an hour, right?
Get no answer from me.
If you're both working making $20 an hour,
Mhm.
but you work over a year's time 100 less hours or 30 less hours, why should your yearly salary be the same?
Same value as the guy that worked all those hours.
No, you're getting paid an hourly rate
Mhm.
based on the fact that you have the same job, but how much you end up making in a year is not going to be the same because you work less. Now, it'd be the same way if he works less,
Mhm.
but that's typically, studies show that it's typically not the case. Women are taking time off to have kids and blah, 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 blah. And so there are a lot of people out there that will say, well, shouldn't that count for something? That's your choice, you know? And yes, you get maternity leave and all that stuff. But as a business owner, it shouldn't be on me to pay you regardless.
Because a business is a business.
Yes,
And it has to run and operate as a business, not a personal daycare for
correct.
adults. So you have to facilitate accordingly in order for that business to keep growing.
You take 6 months off work to take care of your newborn child. Great. You'll have your job when you come back. But you can't expect to now have the same pay as the guy who was there the entire 6 months working while you weren't,
Mhm.
when you both started at the same pay.
Yeah. I
Is
wonder,
that fair for him?
yeah. I wonder what the study would be behind, because we're talking about pay job. Now, what if somebody receives uh, what is it called?
Commission?
Commission. If it was a commission, 100% commission based job.
Yeah.
And like, say for instance, she may not work as much, but she's knocking down numbers, and he is not. Like,
With
and
commission, you eat what you
commission
give.
based, yeah. But your commission basis change,
Well,
yearly, whatever.
if you're basically saying, you know what, you're going to get 13% commission, and I'm going to get 13% commission on what I sell. If I'm not selling a lot, then I'm going to make less than you.
Right.
But the percentage of the commission that I make off what I sell, I'm not going to raise your commission because you hustle harder.
Yeah.
Nah, you're just going to make more money because you're working harder.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah,
That's
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 the
true.
perks of the job.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
came in saying, "I'm
I
gonna."
guess I guess for me in my head, I was thinking, at certain times, structural change, whatever the case may be, the increase of value of whatever product it is, that there might be a fractional change each year, but at the same time, there will be
Then it'll be a fractional change for him too.
yeah,
He's just not selling as much, so he's not making as
yeah,
much.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. Got
and
it.
for whatever reason, you know, prime example. Why is it that female models make way more money than male models? Like a factor of 10, because female models bring in more money. Who shops more? Women.
Hmm.
How many times have you seen a male model wear some shit and be like, I got to get that?
Man,
Never.
bring up my abs.
It doesn't happen.
But what's interesting, they never bring that part up.
No.
They'll never bring that up. Also, what other industry? Porn.
Yes.
Because
Female porn stars get paid
exactly.
way more than dudes.
And dudes do a whole lot of
Right.
work.
But if you want equal pay, then you should get equal.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny because you go into that industry, which is the film industry.
Mm-hmm.
You look at television, you look at movies, and people will say there's a definite disparity of what black people make versus white people make in the industry, what men get paid versus what women get paid in the industry. Now, the question becomes, do you get paid less because you're not as big of a box office draw? Or is there something else? And I think there are things that like Taraji P. Henson had that whole, and yeah, she's a bomb ass actress, but she has to fight for every role, and roles are sort of given to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And you take her and you take somebody else, and you'll hear what's her name used to speak out about this too, Angela Bassett. You hear
For years.
yes, and yeah,
Viola
Davis is one as well, who will absolutely point out the fact that there's a disparity.
Mm-hmm.
And my question is, are they looking for equality or are they looking for equity? You put out a movie that grosses, $1 billion worldwide, and somebody else puts out a movie that grosses $100 million worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Your next movie, your salary is going to go up. It should go up more, or you should make more for that movie than the person whose movie only grossed 100 million.
Mm-hmm.
But it all depends on how you work that deal. If you truly believe in your ability as a box office draw, take a little less salary and get part on the back end.
Mm-hmm.
As the movie does well, you do great. And that's what I don't know enough about the movies to do that, to say that, but then you'll start thinking about, look at my field.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a disparity amongst male and female surgeons? The insurance companies don't know if you're male or female who's operating. They just pay for the surgery itself. It's that simple, But there will be surgeons out there who say, well, I make less because I'm a female, whatever. You may have a different job. If you're getting hired by somebody and a practice is hiring you, I don't think that disparity is the same as you see in other industries. If it is, then you need to speak up. Be like, no, I deserve more because this is what I bring in. It's all about the money you bring into the practice.
Mm-hmm.
Has nothing to do with you as a female surgeon, male surgeon,
and that goes back to equity.
Yeah,
goes right back to equity. Equity. Um, I I was just thinking about what you were just saying, and do you think a lot of times, especially with the idea of equity or equality, whichever they're choosing at that time, because most of the time they're going to choose the term equality.
Yeah.
Putting the negative stigma or something, saying, "Oh, because I'm a woman," or "Oh, because I'm African American," or "Oh, because I'm this age." Do you think that a lot of times that is that is a crutch that they're using versus really estimating their true value or their true worth?
Well, I think there's a lot of times that opportunities aren't presented
Mm-hmm.
because you're a woman, because you're a minority, um, or because you're a man. There's opportunities that aren't presented, and so having opportunities that just don't come your way, very different than having opportunities and you not taking advantage of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's where I was getting at.
yeah. And so I think you need to rethink when somebody says, no, you don't get the job. You have to ask yourself why. Is there something I could have done better to get this job? Or is there something I could have done better to get this raise? Or did you even ask, well, how come I didn't get the raise? And if they tell you because they're not going to tell you because you're a woman or because you're black, they'll tell you a different reason. And then if that's not true, then you can go down that path. But if they're like, you didn't get the job because he worked harder than you, he does this, he does that, or she does this, she does that, and you're like, oh shit, okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people don't ask. They just walk out thinking, oh, I didn't get it because I'm black, or I didn't get it because I'm a woman, or I didn't get it because I got two left feet,
Yeah.
whatever it may be, And so I think we need to re-examine how we actually look at the world and try to really pay attention to how the world looks at us.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this in relationships. We did a podcast recently about stuff women don't like, and one statement was made: we want to be treated equal, but yet I still want you to open my door. And so one thing that has always rubbed most people wrong is that you want equality. You want to be treated as an equal as long as that equal treatment benefits you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be equal if equal is hard. You want to be equal if equal is easy. You want to be treated as an equal, you pay for dinner tonight.
Right.
I saw this podcast and the woman was like, well, I just want to be treated equally. And then he's like, all right, well, you want your man to be smarter than you, right? Yeah. You want your man to be taller than you, right? Yeah. You want your man to be stronger than you, right? Yeah. You want your man to make more money than you, right? Yeah. Well, then what part of any of that is equal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you want equity in the relationship. You don't want equality because at the end of the day, you still want to be treated like a woman.
Right. Your equity is your value.
And right, exactly. And you want all the things that come with being treated like a woman, being catered to, being put on a pedestal, being, not having to be your own man. If you want to be treated equal, then be your own man. And then you don't need a man.
Yeah.
Because if you're the man's equal, he doesn't want to be your equal. He doesn't want to be you.
No.
You never hear a man say, I want to be your equal. I don't want to be you. There's a whole lot of things that you can accomplish in your life that I can't do.
And he just wants
And I'm okay with it. I just want you.
That's it.
But yet you have the modern feminist who is saying, I deserve everything that he deserves. All right, cool. Well, we carry the world on our shoulders. Why don't we put it on your back for a while and see how far you can carry it? Look at dudes who are pumping oil on the oil rigs. Look at dudes who are picking up garbage. I don't see a single woman out there dumping garbage cans. Very few and far in between. I don't see very many female roofers. I don't see very many females doing high intensity manual labor jobs. Why? Because you're physically not equal.
Yeah. Or something that's not physical, going back to the commission-based jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Most women will not take a commission-based job because of the lack of security. That was a fact. I mean, I've worked a lot of commission-based jobs, and there was never any women showing up to do the job. It was a lot of all guys. Now, the few that I knew, they were hardcore. They went in, they were ready. They're like, all right.
But think about this too, though. I look at some of the sales jobs in medicine,
Mm-hmm.
and some of them are very particular to a gender. I can't remember the last time I saw, this is back in the day, I can't remember the last time I saw a man roll into my office as a pharmaceutical drug rep.
Mhm.
They're usually always very pretty, well put together women because why? Those are the ones that will
That's a
get
draw.
FaceTime.
Yeah, that's a draw.
But then you go into the world of orthopedics and spine surgery. It's a very male dominated. If you look across the board, a lot of these reps are ex athletes. It's a very bro mentality.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
it's a very bro mentality. And you look on these teams of these companies, and they'll have women there now. Like the number of women that are in the spine industry from when I started 20 years ago till now, oh, it's grown tremendously because people are realizing women in the spine industry can also get FaceTime with docs that some of these dudes can't.
Yeah.
But I will say they don't always get treated fairly by their counterparts. See
Mhm.
that a lot. And I'm just like, oh, dude, you're getting fucked. You know that, right? You're getting screwed over.
Same thing happens with women in the fitness industry.
I was just going to ask you
Some
about that.
of some of the more high profile trainers that I know, typically, honestly, are women,
Yeah.
and they do an amazing job. Now, I've had a lot of conversations with women trying to figure out how do they step outside of their own realm and increase their value. I say you just ask. Honestly, you just ask. You're not asking because of your fear of the number. If you don't ask, you won't get the number. You won't get in. You won't get in front of those people. I know some of the better trainers I know are female trainers.
Yeah. Now, here's the question. Do those female trainers, do they typically command the same money as male trainers? Like you take the top end male trainers and the top end female trainers. Are the female trainers able to command that same dollar that the male trainers?
They could, but they don't ask. They could, but they don't ask because of, well, a lot of people don't ask because of a fear.
Yeah.
And that is their own personal equity that's going on between their ears. An
But
idea.
do you,
But
do you do you think? Well, I'll ask you this question:
uh-huh.
in the world of private personal training, are women willing to spend the money as much as men are willing to spend the money?
I would say, yeah, actually more women spend the money.
Than dudes do, right?
Because dudes can figure it out,
Right,
quote unquote, if you can't see it, but figure it out
right, and
until
that's
they can't.
right, and that's what I was getting at. There's probably way more women who seek personal training
Yes.
than men, and a lot of women or female personal trainers who are high end have a shit ton of female clients. So why is it that they can't command that money from those female clients?
I'm telling you,
Like they just won't ask.
they just won't ask. And that is, but that's their insight or lack of insight on money and the face of money and value and fear.
Yeah,
A lot of times that's what happens.
because I see some female, fitness professionals that their price will be half of what somebody who's not as good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I see it all day long. I have a good friend. Just recently, I told her, "This is your setup now. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You're getting in anywhere between 3 to 5 new people a month, and you're grouping them. Guess what? This is what you're going to do. This phase, you want to get in on this phase and already increase that from where you already are. The next phase, that value goes up like immediately. This is the price. And the people that are on the back end start phasing them out. It's time for you to start just letting them go because they need to fly."
So here's a question. You have the two top people in social media, Ronaldo, Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian puts out a pair of underwear, Skims.
Yeah.
Ronaldo puts out a pair of boxer briefs.
Mm-hmm.
Who sells more?
Ronaldo.
Kim Kardashian.
This is true.
Because dudes are gonna be like, I'm gonna buy whatever underwear is out there, whatever.
Yeah.
They're not gonna buy them because of him.
Yeah. Women will actually buy his underwear for their man
Exactly.
because of him.
Exactly. So Kim will be able to command
This
a
is
lot
true.
higher dollar,
You
even
got me.
though they have equal eyes
Yes.
on them.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and so it's not about
Women want him. Women want him. Men revere him. You know what I mean? They
Right.
want to be him.
So if I were an underwear manufacturer, am I going to pay Kim more money per post, or am I going to pay Ronaldo more money per post? They have equal eyes on them.
Yeah.
They both have 100 million. Say they both have 100 million or 500 million, whatever it is, followers, right? Whose following is going to spend more money if I get them to post something?
Women. Yeah.
And so why should I pay Ronaldo $1 million to post something and Kim $750? I would probably pay Kim $1 million and pay him $500 because I know the return on the investment is going to be so much greater with Kim, even though they have equal eyes on them. So that's what equity is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's real.
Makes sense, right?
That makes a lot of sense.
Like you can't have you can't have a guy come into the makeup industry. You will never have a male Kylie Cosmetics.
Yeah.
A man be the face of cosmetics and make $1 billion will never happen, even though he may be just as smart, know just as much about makeup, all this stuff.
Because of his audience.
Right. And so if he's demanding that I get paid like her, no, you're not, because you're not going to sell as much.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, but I think people don't think about that concept, man. They don't think about what that actually means. You don't want to be equal. You don't want to be treated the same. You don't want to be treated like a man. You want to be treated fairly.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm speaking to you women out there who keep screaming, I just want to be equal. I just want to be equal. You have the ability and the opportunities. Now, if you're not getting the opportunities, different story. But don't ask for an opportunity and then shit the bed. Or don't ask for an equal opportunity, but want concessions because you're a woman, or want concessions because you're a man. So then you're not asking for equality. You want an equitable relationship, not an equal relationship. I mean,
not the same.
No.
Absolutely.
You being a married man, is it ever equal in a marriage?
Oh God, no.
Right? And it shouldn't be, right?
No.
Because you go looking. This is just for me. I would go, if I'm going to want a partner, I want that partner to have the stuff I don't have.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I don't want you to be equal to me. Because if I'm marrying me, I don't need you.
I don't need you.
Right?
No. And not going backwards.
But equitable means if I'm bringing 5 things to the table, you're bringing 5 things to the table. You're just bringing different things to the table. Mm-hmm. They may not be equal.
Right.
But it's equitable.
And as time goes on and you're in that relationship, they are interchangeable. They change. They become different. But guess what? You're always bringing those things, those 5 things or 3 things to the table.
Yeah, shit ain't never 50-50.
Yeah. One of the things when relationships start falling apart, he brought all this, you brought a couple things, you brought an overnight bag, you know,
and you leaving with a house.
Oh my goodness. But it changes, you know. I see people in relationships and marriages, you know, they started off, oh, everything's wonderful, you know, he's got this good job, she's got this good job, they're doing well, and you know, they bought the house, you know, they got the dog, they now have kids, but that equal share of responsibility into each other changes.
Right. And when they go to get divorced, people always look at, okay, now that we're getting divorced, Let's look at the tangible things that we each brought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
It's the only time you readdress it.
right. But here's the thing. I marry you today you're a woman. I marry you. You bring you to the table, right? I bring me to the table. I then build a business. I do all this stuff. You hold down the home. We have kids. We do all that. But yet, financially, you're not really bringing anything to the table. Equality means you should be bringing just as much to the table as me. Equity means everything I'm bringing to the table, the value of the intangibles that you're bringing to the table are equal to everything
That's right.
monetarily I'm bringing to the table.
That's right.
And that's why shit gets split.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's you've been doing all of this, so I can do all of this, so we can have all of this.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, think about when people get divorced and you're going to the table. Oh, he had an affair. He did this. He did that. Guess what? They don't care. They don't bring it up.
Mm-mm.
What did you do during that time? What was your values? What was your equity in those times?
Mhm.
And this is what his equities was. That's it. And oh, he generated a lot of income, but you made it easier for him to generate all that income.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, he's going to have to.
And that's assuming that you both came with nothing. Now, if I come in 100 million deep,
Mhm.
and then we're together, and you help me build 100 million to 150, you don't get 75.
Right.
You get 25
Mm-hmm.
because you helped me build an extra 50. You didn't help me build 150.
Right.
You know, and I think that's where people get lost because they're like, oh, well, no, it should be split equally. I was married to you for a year. You know, but it's one of those things where there has to be some value, not a monetary value, but value placed on the non-working spouse's role in the household. You know, whoever the breadwinner is, the non-breadwinner has to be bringing value. If there's no value that you're bringing, then you can't ask for an equitable. You can't be asking for equality because there's nothing equal about what you're doing.
At all.
I mean, it's.
Yeah. Man.
I mean, it's crazy how people think, you know, and what people think they deserve.
I'm gonna stop saying crazy.
No, I'm not gonna stop saying crazy
Okay,
because
all right.
people are crazy.
What it's generalizing. Yes, people are crazy.
Well, I mean, but that's a crazy notion
It is.
if you think you deserve something,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and and I'm not talking about just in relationships. I'm talking about in life in general. If you feel, oh, I deserve, that's a crazy notion. You don't deserve anything. You work for it, you get it, you or don't.
Yeah. And that is one of the biggest problems today.
Nobody owes you
The-
anything.
The value of understanding what you earn. You're just going out and taking.
Yeah.
I just take.
And so I'd be curious to see what people's thoughts are on, and like we said, we did a podcast before on I deserve, you know, and what people think their equal share in life should be. What is it that you think you should be getting that you're not getting? What makes this an equal opportunity or an equitable opportunity? You know, equal opportunity means I'm giving you the option. I'm going to open that door. You can walk through it just like he can walk through it. That's the equal opportunity.
Mhm.
What you do with that opportunity once you get through the door is how you build your equity. You know? And so I'm not going to open the door, and if you're both bringing the same thing to the table, then you start off
Yeah.
eye to eye.
It's about the only thing that's equal. Walking through the door.
Yeah. After that, there's so much more that goes down.
Exactly. That's the only thing that's equal.
You know? And so it goes back to that notion of I want to be treated equal, but I also want you to open my door.
Mm.
And there was so much behind that. I want you to be a man, but I want to be equal to you. Is that what you really meant? Do you want to be my equal, or do you want me to lead? Or what if I said, okay, half the time you're gonna lead, the other half time I'm gonna lead.
Yeah.
Today's your turn. I'm not making any decisions. That shit won't sit too well.
No.
But if you want equality, that's what equality is.
Mm-hmm.
You get treated the same way I get treated. That's equality. Do you really want that? Do you want the world to treat you the same way they treat me? I'm going to ask that one more time. Do you want the world to treat you exactly the way they treat me? Be careful what you ask for.
You will be granted it.
Because the minute they start treating you like me, you're going to be like, oh shit, that's not what I wanted.
My bad.
Yeah, it's too late. This is what you wanted.
you deep. You in it.
So be careful how you use the word equality, and understand that that may not be what you're looking for, because you can't handle some of what's required to be equal. You physically can't handle what's required to be equal. A lot of men can't emotionally handle what it's required to be equal. A lot of men can't intellectually handle what it's like or needed to be equal. So equality is not realistic. Equity is.
And it's not realistic for
anyone.
We are not equal
At all.
We're not.
We're not.
That's why we have the podcast.
And we both bring different things to this world. And that's what makes us. If we were all equal in this world, there'd never be any growth. But we all have equity because we all bring something of value.
So you need to start charting. What is your equity?
Like what we were just looking at in Adam Grant's book.
Yeah.
Not everybody is a genius. So you don't treat everybody like a genius, but you look for the genius in everyone.
Mm-hmm. Because they have their own particulars.
Exactly.
Everyone does.
So if you cultivate or you gear your world towards everybody that you feel is a genius, that's very different than cultivating the genius in everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where equity comes in versus equality. You treat everybody like your perception of a genius, there's going to be people that will fail. But if you look for the genius in everyone and cultivate it, that's where equity comes in.
Fostering great behavior.
It's a damn good book.
I know.
Dude,
I know.
Good topic, man. I know we're going to start digging deeper into more of these things, and hopefully, hopefully y'all are getting something out of these.
Yes, we're trying to make it very, 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 not just heartfelt, mindfelt.
Make you think.
Make you really think. This one was a thinker. Like, I had to take my time to think it through. Like, you hit it on the head when you sent it to him. I was like,
Yeah. Right? Because I think
grunting,
because I think a lot of us, including me, at times think about it wrong. I think there's no way this isn't left up to interpretation. Those two words have very different meanings.
Yeah.
And you can't have your own definition of the word equal.
Yeah.
Equal means this is the same as this.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean,
and if you want the same, you get all that comes with it. You can't pick and choose where you want it to be equal.
You don't want equal rights.
You want equitable rights.
That's right.
You want equal opportunity.
Yes.
That's all. You just want a chance.
That's the walk through the door.
Yeah, you just want the chance.
Just the walk through the door like everyone else. That's it.
You want an equal opportunity to have an equitable outcome.
Whew. Man, do we need to go any further than that one?
That's it. I'm done, man. Coach KJ, man.
Oh, boy.
Where they gonna find you,
Well,
man?
that was heat. They go. I hope they find me at Coach KJ Knows on Instagram and CoachKJ.com.
Oh man, you're gonna find me at Leonel Hunt on Instagram. You're gonna find me huntspine.com. Check us out at SOE_podcast.
Well, you better plug that foundation.
Oh, the huntfoundation.org, man. Y'all got to check that out. We're doing big things.
Check it out.
Just trying to save the planet. Or the people trying to save humanity. And then the planet will save itself. You're also going to find us at podcastsoe.com. Every Saturday, if we feel like it, we do the podcast warm-up show.
Yeah.
Where we tackle your questions live. Every Wednesday.
And ring them out.
We really do. Every Wednesday, we tackle these topics and get in depth.
New show every Wednesday.
Yes. Tune in on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you like to catch your. Don't forget to subscribe. And just hope you guys are getting something out of this, man. And we out.
We out.